So how's everybody's day going so far? Ugh, it's humid over here for me. I don't like it.
How is it with are you guys gonna get any of the rain from the hurricane?
We've been getting on and off. Supposedly it's supposed to rain. Well, no, yeah, it rained all the way up until Wednesday. So today, I think all the way up until Saturday and Sunday, it's supposed to be humid. And then Monday after that, it's gonna be rainy the whole time.
Dang.
So that's fun. My dogs, it's okay because my dogs are normally chill whenever it rains a little. They get lazy.
But at least you guys aren't gonna get like the really, really bad weather.
Oh yeah, we're just gonna get the after effects, which is not that bad. But I hate it because then like on days when it's like calm like this, it's humid and I feel sticky and it's I don't like it.
Doesn't sound pleasant.
It is not pleasant. That's the one thing I hate about living so close to the coast.
Hi, I'm Ida.
Hi, I'm Noodles. Hi, I'm Musica.
And this is Bluntly Talking.
Okay.
So we watched the shows, but it's so funny because I found myself in one of the episodes for Raymond. I don't really have a lot to say. And then when we were watching The Kings of Queens, I kind of forgot and I was just like laughing along with the show. So I don't know how oh my god, the word is eluding me right now. How productive I'll be with my critiques on this time. So just to let you know. So this is part 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Part 4 of the sitcom effect. And we are on we're going to start with Everybody Loves Raymond, episode 7 and episode 8, season 1. Let me read you the synopsis really quick, and then we'll go with you, Musica. How's that?
Okay.
The synopsis for season 1, episode 7 on Everyone Loves Raymond. When Ray's parents fall out, his mom moves in with him and Deborah. Deborah isn't happy and tries to convince Ray's dad to apologize, but he's enjoying the single life too much. This episode aired on October 28, 1996. Aw, they could have done a Halloween episode.
My first thought on the episode was like, I thought it was kind of stupid a little. I will admit that. I thought it was kind of stupid. But, as it kept going on and everything, seeing the parallels between like how the mom is reacting to the whole separation thingy compared to the dad, I couldn't help but also kind of laugh a little at it, but also be like, like, I don't know, it made me hate the mom a little bit more than how I already disliked her. Okay, so first when it starts off, you know, like, them barging into the house like always, and all of a sudden, like, the mom's saying, like, how she's not liking, she's not liking, like, she's upset with the dad because she's like, oh my god, he's gone too far this time, like, he's done it. And he comes in, he's like, where's my sandwich? She's like, in the freaking trash that you threw it in. He's like, because that's where it belongs. And I did think that was kind of a bit effed up that he said that, but when I heard the reason why, which I do think is kind of stupid, but he kind of also had a slight point, was that he didn't like how the way the tuna salad was made. And
wait. Did I just hear you say that the dad has a slight point for throwing out the tuna?
No, he had a slight point as to saying why it wasn't a tuna salad. He had no right to throw it away because that's a waste of food.
Okay.
I'm saying he has a slight point saying why it's not considered a complete tuna salad.
What?
But he still should have eaten it anyways. Anyways.
Wait, I'm still like...
Hang on.
Shocked.
If someone is cooking food for you, it doesn't matter how they make it. If you ask for something and they make it, you should be thankful that they did.
No, that's not
Wait.
I'm not arguing about that.
Not only that.
I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing the fact that he had the gall to throw it away, saying that it's disgusting, it's not a real food. To me, it's like, dude, it is. It's just, you know, something was missing. Okay, fine. Just say,
Hold
hey,
on.
next time
I'm
you add it.
still stuck on that. Because
Damn it.
the reason, can you explain why this man said that it wasn't a tuna salad, and you agree with that, right?
Okay, yes. That's what I was trying to get to
so
before you all
explain that
started.
part.
Yeah, he...
Okay, go ahead.
No, yeah, he didn't like the tuna salad because, like, it was missing the celery. And he brought in Raymond saying, like, hey, like, is this really tuna salad? if it doesn't have the crunch. And at first Raymond's like, I don't want to get in the middle of this. But his dad, like, both his parents give him the look, like, she's my side kind of look, you know? And finally Raymond comes in, he's like, no, yeah, I agree with Dad. And again, that's where I both kind of agree and disagree. Like, okay, yes, I agree. Tuna salad, it needs the celery. I like the crunch too. But it doesn't always have to have the celery. Plus, I'm also the kind of person that's like, I'm not gonna waste food. If I'm gonna eat it, I'll of course eat it. But if I could offer it to someone else who's gonna eat it, you know, fine, okay, eat. Ask them, and they'll see if they'll eat it. Because otherwise, to me, it's like it's just a waste. You know, like why throw it away? I did got mad when he said that's why he threw it in the trash because he considered it as slop. And to me, it's like okay, and now I want to slap you because now you're the ass. And the reason I ended up hating the mom a little later on, like I said, is because it's how she keeps treating Deborah. Because like the mom, like, she refuses to go back to the house to make him to do anything for him until he apologizes. And he's, you know, like any stubborn man, he's like, fine, I'm gonna do it myself then. He goes home. And they're all thinking like, okay, she's gonna go home eventually, you know, like they'll make up. No, she's there for like what, like 2-3 days? Yeah, and Deborah's losing her mind because she's literally nitpicking every little thing. She's not folding right. She doesn't clean it right. She's not making the food right. She's not, you know, like every little damn thing. And she says it in such a condescending way that sounds like, oh, I'm giving helpful advice. And to me, it's like, if that was me, and that was either my in-law, a guest or whatever, and they started saying shit like that, I would literally have to go into the room because I would want to smack them. Yeah. And I hate that Raymond doesn't do shit. And when she asks him, like, how did you put up with this? His answer, I pretend to sleep so she doesn't bug me. I pretend to sleep.
That's right.
And literally, she's like,
he
what?
actually does it.
He actually does. Like when she's coming downstairs, she pretends to sleep, and she's like, "Oh, my bad, he's sleeping. I'll go in the other room." And
yeah,
I love how Deborah's like, "Oh look, he's awake." Smacks him on the head with the pillow. I'm like, "Yep, that's exactly what I would do." It's like, "Oh my freaking god." So I do like how Deborah's like, "You know what? F this. I'm gonna go talk to the dad. See how this goes." Because like Raymond did try to go talk to the dad first, but then he sees how free he is, and he's like, like he might have a point wanting to be alone. I love how Deborah gives him the look that's saying like, so you rather him be, Deborah goes talk to Frank, and you know at first she's trying to get him to go, but then she ends up hanging out with Frank because she's like, when she calls Ray, she's like, your dad may have a point. I'm gonna stay a little longer, try to talk to him. Reality, they're freaking hanging out. Yeah. He ends up making dinner, which it's kind of funny. Like he discovered salsa. Doing air quotes over here. He's loving it, and he wants to share it. And he made salsa with eggs, which I think sounds a bit disgusting, but oh my god, you could totally tell what they were trying to do right there, and I wanted to laugh and get angry at that so hard. And he's like, try it, you're gonna love it, it's gonna taste good. And Deborah, she tries it, she's like, okay. And then the brother comes in, he's saying, hi mom, hi dad, like always. They both answer like, hi. And he looks at them like, the hell's going on here? And they kind of somewhat give him like a short explanation, like, oh, like, the mom's angry, she's over at Deborah's and Ray's house, and the dad's still here. And then he's like looking around, it's like, well, what do I do? Like, where do I go then? I love how the dad's answer is like, go anywhere, like, you're free. Yeah. And he's just looking around, because at first he's like, I'm free, yay. He's like, oh fuck, I'm free. It's like, what do I do now? Like, he literally has to look like, yes, and then it's like, wait, now I have to take care of myself type of deal. And he doesn't like that. So he's like, okay. And I think, well, eventually he goes over to hang out with his mom and Raymond. And again, the parallels, because like again, Deborah's still trying to like tell Frank to please go back home and to go and apologize to the wife, to bring her back. And he says no, and she says like, well, like, he explains how like it's her wifely duties to take care of him, which I freaking hated that. And I love how Deborah says like, well, no wife wants to feel like she's still being a mommy, taking care of people around them. And then it cuts over to her literally babying two grown-ass men who are acting like kids.
Oh my god. Yes.
And
oh my god.
I was like, well, apparently not this mom. Like, she's loving it. Like, obviously she's loving the fact that, like, oh, like, which I did write down here that she likes the feel, I guess, like the mom herself, like, she likes the feeling of taking
The
care of
control,
somebody.
I guess.
Yeah, like, the control, taking care of somebody, like, oh, like, it's my way or no way type deal. Which I think that's why her and Deborah always butt heads a lot, because, like, she can no longer take care or tell Raymond what to do because that's not her place anymore. But she still tries to do it anyways.
I mean, she does do it. She doesn't try. She does do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Man.
my biggest issue. Well, one of my biggest issues with the show.
Episode really peeved me off because it's one of those, they even said it in the show where the dad is basically like, it's a woman's job to take care of me. She's a woman, she's supposed to cook for me, and how dare she mess up type of thing. And of course, like, I mean, they play it off, they make it funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so like that part I really did not like, because it was basically the dad was upset and the mom was upset. He never even apologizes. Like, it legit ends with him going over and just inviting her to go to the store with him.
Yeah.
And she runs up to him like, oh, you apologize. And it's like, no, he didn't. He invited you to the store. That's it. Like,
he even says that too.
Yeah, like he even like straight up saying, I'm not apologizing, I'm inviting you to the store. And she's just like, oh, you're so sweet for apologizing. Like,
yeah,
I hated that. I hated it. And then going back to Raymond's house where his mom is at, like, they really played up the monster-in-law.
Yes.
Because it's already like a running gag that she and the wife don't get along, and now she's over there causing chaos because she's like redoing everything that the wife does and like criticizing any little thing in that house, to how dirty it looks, to how dusty it is, to how she folds the clothes, how she doesn't iron the clothes, how she doesn't wash her dishes right, and the list goes on and on and on. And Ray does nothing to help. He does nothing. Even the wife is over here like, you need to either talk to your mom or go talk to your dad, because this arrangement is not working for me. Something is gonna happen.
I also find it a little funny how she says, like one points when she's folding the clothes, she's saying, oh, like, imagine when you have guests, like a death in the family, and she uses Deborah as the example.
Oh, yeah.
Saying like, oh, like, you know, people, like, they want to come and they want to check out her clothes, say what they like and take, and like, do you want to be remembered for being neat and clean?
Oh, yes.
I was like, really? Not the fact that she was a wife, a mother, you know, like, anything else besides neat and clean? Also, like, why the fuck was she dead?
Yeah, it's just, this whole episode was not good. The only part I thought was really funny was, I went to the father-in-law's house, and back at their house, you know, like, Ray and his brother and his mom are taking up the roles of the mom taking care of her sons, and they start fighting over a stupid toy from a cereal box. Like, I think that was the only part that was funny to me, because it's one of those, like, they're still in that comfortable spot with their mom that, you know, they can act like that.
Yeah.
But it's one of those still that these are grown-ass men with jobs. One is a police officer, like,
yeah.
and that's how they act. You know, like, it's funny, but it's still like, ugh, like,
yeah. He's not just any policeman. I think he's a sergeant, isn't he?
Yeah, like, he's high up in the rank.
Yeah. Just remember, we're watching these shows, right, on what effect sitcoms have had on society. So when I watch this is what I was telling you about when we started, that we were watching the other show, Kings and Queens. I kind of like forgot about it because I was actually enjoying it. But with this particular episode, oh my god, it is so cringy that this is definitely one of my least favorite ones. What you guys just said, and I want to backtrack and talk about the tuna salad.
Oh my god, again,
So,
it's tuna salad.
Get into it.
That is how it begins, right? Where Ray's dad is complaining about the tuna salad and how it's not a tuna salad because she didn't put celery. So he thought that it was okay for him to throw it away and demand for her to make it the right way. That right there is what is so annoying to me, because we go back to, what are you trying to project to society with that? But really quick on the tuna salad, it's funny that you said that, because noodles, and then I asked noodles, and I said, noodles, how do you like the tuna salad? She turns around and says, I haven't made tuna salad. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm like, I've never made it before, so.
So the way that I've made it in the past, because you're right, we haven't done it. I mean, that's not something that we normally eat.
Hmm.
But the last time that I remember, it was with like lettuce, we put corn, sometimes green peas, mayo, and
Hmm.
I think that's pretty much it. Oh, you could put onions and tomatoes in it. That's what I remember. I don't ever remember putting celery in my tuna salad.
Really? I
That's
do.
what.
You know,
So
funny thing is like,
you.
no, it's funny because I think one time grandma actually did that. I think she actually put like a little
Mm.
bit of celery. And I remember me as a kid, I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm putting celery in it. I'm like, does it taste better that way? She's like, try it. And I liked it. And whenever she would make it, she's like, do you want celery or without celery? And I would say sometimes with celery because like I want the crunch because I want to feel like I'm eating bone for some reason as a kid. I was like, I'm a giant. I'm eating bones. And
God.
other times I'll just be like, nah, I don't feel like eating anything crunchy, just without it. Like I could go either way with it, but no, yeah,
Right.
like sometimes I wouldn't mind it because I again like to me as a kid, it's like I want to feel like a giant.
Yeah. All right. Well, so I just wanted to clarify that. But second of all, you guys already said it basically that this is a grown-ass man. I mean, he's an elder.
He's an elderly
And
man.
he's still complaining and doing child tantrums like that. Now, first of all, this show was in the late 90s. Second of all, this was an older couple, so definitely like beyond boomers, I guess. I don't know. But
Hmm.
I get it, okay? That's how they were used to it. But my thing is, you're putting this on national TV. It was put on national TV for, it's part of that. Like, they're putting it out there. They're putting out these messages out. And you're right. What you said about the end, how he comes over, doesn't apologize, but the wife is like, oh, you apologize. Like, no. And those are the type of things that I'm talking about that they kind of they were trying to normalize that behavior.
Yeah.
But there's no, I mean, I'm sorry, that is not right. If you're gonna apologize, to him, honestly, it was because of his convenience to kind of go and do that because let's get real, like there's only so much salsa you can have.
I think it was the fact that it was eye-opening to him that only his wife would do that for him because when he asked, I forget her name, was
Deborah?
her name Deborah?
Yeah.
Deborah, when he told Deborah, like, hey, can you go make this for me? And she's like, no, you can
No.
do it.
Yeah.
Like, you can do it. And he's like, but you're here. Like, why don't you do it? And she even had to, like, sit him down and was like, okay, if your wife was here, you would ask her to do it, but why? And he literally turns around and is like, because she's a woman.
Mhm.
It's a woman's job to feed him? Nah, you keep your own dish.
And this is the thing, right? That they were normalizing this behavior. And this is why a lot of us grew up thinking that that was normal behavior. Oh, you don't need to apologize. That's normal behavior.
Hmm.
Oh, you know what I mean? That was the biggest trigger for me too. The fact that this man really never took responsibility. And she's also enabling him. You're right. In that scene with the cornflakes, with the cereal, and the two adult sons, it was funny. But to me, that just showcased more of what big of a jerk Ray really is. He's your
Mhm.
typical classic sitcom guy. You know, he was being a jerk. Oh, it's my house, so that's my toy. Like, it was funny because it's funny to see adults acting that way.
Hmm.
But to me, that just showcased what a big of a jerk Ray really is. And definitely I don't like his parents, but definitely the thing that I hated the most was how the mother-in-law kept, like how she said that to Deb about the funeral. Like she's literally planning out her daughter-in-law's funeral
Hmm.
while she's criticizing her. Now in the show, Deb, just chuckles, kind of puts up with it, and that's another thing that pisses me off. I feel like I'm more angry when I watch these than you two. But I think possibly one of the reasons is because I lived it. And it's so frustrating and seeing it. I've actually have met people like this. And as a woman in a situation like this, you have to kind of just, chuckle and go along with it, even if it's uncomfortable. Even like in this case, I mean, here's this lady staying in your house, criticizing everything that you're doing, and on top of that, picturing you dead.
Yeah.
No,
And she
yeah.
just, so,
What I still found a little terrible is like how like when she looks over to Raymond to say something, and he looks over to Mom thinking like, okay, he's gonna say something, and then he's like, how she died, and it's like, really?
yeah.
You're asking your mother
Yeah.
how your wife dies.
Yeah. And then we go back to like, it's a comedy show, so it is, I mean, it is supposed to be funny, but then it's like, well, but why you, I don't know. I think that they relied on those kind of jokes
Mm-hmm.
when I feel like they could have done it in other ways. But so that was the wonderful episode 7. Let's move on to episode 8 because we can continue. We can criticize this until the cows come home. Is that how the saying goes?
I think so.
Right.
I've never heard of that.
Okay. Well, educate yourself. No, just kidding.
Well, damn.
I don't even know if that's the way to say it. Anyway, so episode 8, on where I look for them, which is literally just Google, it doesn't say that they have names, but I noticed that when we're watching the show, it does have a title. So just, I don't know the title for this one. I thought I wrote it down, but I guess I didn't. But I'll start writing them down. But this one doesn't have a title. But episode 8, season 1, premiered November 1st, 1996. The synopsis says, Deborah's well-to-do parents come to visit. Ray begs his parents to be nice to them, but when they all go out for a meal, it proves to be a tall order.
Okay, this had to me like, cause I was kind of wondering like, when are we ever gonna meet Deb's parents? Cause I think that it's only ever mentioned like whenever they talk about their wedding. And finally seeing them, I think now, how the hell did these two meet?
Yes.
I mean, oh my god! First of all,
Talk
in the
about
synopsis,
opposites attract.
and not only that, but it's like the classism right here. They literally
Yeah.
are just middle class with very well-off parents who are like upper class. So my thing here is like, how did Deborah meet Ray? And okay, fine. I go to like, good for her. She didn't let their social standings affect the fact that she fell in love with him and she wanted to spend her life with him. That's good for her. I just question, what? Like, how did you two meet? And how did her, seeing how Ray is behaving and everything, decide like, oh yeah, okay, this is the way my life I wanted to be, And
Yeah.
honestly, it showed more of like how Ray's parents, his family are a bunch of asses. Again, not because of like their social standing or anything, but them as people. Because the minute like they hear they're coming over, they start mocking them. They're like, oh, like how they were off in what was it, Monaco?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. I might be wrong, but like again, like somewhere overseas, like they're mocking the fact that they're traveled, that they're well off, that they can do this and do those things. And to me, it's just like, why is that such a terrible thing? Especially back then, I imagine most people would die for a chance like that to go somewhere just once.
Right.
And like, yes, okay, they're well off, okay, cool. That obviously means they worked hard, they invested well, they saved up, and everything. Like, they got to themselves to a point where they're comfortable enough for not only them to keep doing that, but for them to possibly even offer the chance for their own daughter to do that. Which to me, like, that is great. I imagine that's every single parent's goal for their children, So the fact that Ray's parents, his brother, him even, are mocking that, I can have a thing like, you're envious. That's clear envy right there, but for the fact that they can't do that. And I felt bad for Deborah's family because they were trying to, like, they did feel awkward, but they were trying to be civil. Like, did they like them? No. Obviously, they didn't like each other. But they were being civil. Ray's family, on the other hand, straight up were, like, mocking them straight to their faces.
Yeah.
And honestly, I hated this episode. I hated it, and it made me question more of, like, why is she with him? She can obviously afford to freaking ditch his ass and take the kids. I'm sorry, but come on.
Love? Question mark?
Yeah, I mean, this episode was not. It was very cringeworthy. I dislike that that Ray's family was basically making fun of her family the whole episode. And even she pulls Ray aside and was like, "What are you guys doing? Like, you guys are literally making fun of my family. Like, stop." And he's over here like, "No, we're just poking fun, you know, like that's just how we are." And it's like, no. She was clearly uncomfortable. He asked him to stop it. And okay, he did try, but then what happened? He blows up at the end. And then everybody is upset with him for blowing up.
Right.
Like, I think honestly they should have been upset with him and his family. Like, it wasn't just on him. Yes, he made a bigger scene at the end. I also don't like that they made his family look so they didn't know how to act. That was so cringeworthy too. Like, if you get invited somewhere that you know is gonna be a fancy place, you're gonna act appropriately. You're not gonna make a big scene, you know? And I get it, like they did that because, you know, comedy. It has to be funny. But I just yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't get it. How this show was so popular back in the day. I don't see it. They're all very unlikable people. And yeah, this whole show, and look, I get it. I think they wanted to be relatable to the public, to the middle class. Like, they kind of wanted to, like, look, this is a middle class family, and, kind of like, fuck the rich. Just the way it came across, because the parents weren't even, like, they weren't mean. I expected, to be honest, I thought that her parents were going to be snobby and, like, just the typical how they portray people like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like that. They were actually nice. Like Deborah.
No, yeah, like I said, like they were
Deborah.
being civil, like very cordial with them and everything.
And then, but here comes, Ray and his side of the family. They are just, I don't like them. Funny because I saw an article just last week, where they interviewed Ray, and he said that he thinks the success of the show was due to the actor who played his dad. And he says, he was a genius, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, again, this is nothing against the actors themselves. I mean, they're just doing their job. But I'm thinking, does he really think that? Because so far, and again, this is the 8th episode of the first season. But so far, I don't like any of the characters. Like, I think they're all just horrible people.
Yeah.
Deborah is probably one of the ones that, I mean, I guess if I had to pick a favorite, it would be her. But even then, I wish she would fight back a little bit more.
Yeah,
I think
she just seems to be a doormat.
Yeah, and I think this is why I think I'm enjoying more Kings of Queens, because in that show, the wife, Carrie, she does fight back a little bit. So I like that. Versus in this one, it's just, in this episode, and each episode, you think it's going to get better, but so far, I haven't reached that. And again, they're normalizing this behavior. Like, keep in mind, like, this is what this whole podcast is about. Yeah, and our theory is that how they're influencing society through this kind of rap TV, really. But anyway, all right, let's move on. So that was Everyone Loves Raymond.
We all agree it was not good.
No. So then we saw The King of Queens. Episode 7 is called The Rock. This one aired November 2nd, 1998. The synopsis for this one is: Carrie is offered a large sum of money to sell her engagement ring. Doug and Carrie decide to sell it and buy a hot tub and a satellite dish. Can these things bring happiness, though? Interesting.
Gotta think about this for a minute.
So, I'll start really quick because I just wrote 4 things. And all it says is, I liked it, LOL.
Wow.
So
Okay.
this is the one that I was saying that I think after watching, because I don't know how you do it, Musica, but Noodles and I, we watch we watch them back to back. Like we watch
Hmm.
episodes 7 and 8 from Raymond, and then we go right into the Kings and Queens.
No, yeah, I do that
So
too.
okay, so after those two horrible episodes, to me, this one was like a breath of fresh air. Like okay, I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy the show. But maybe if you guys have anything else, maybe I'll think of, I'll remember it. But I just sat back and enjoy, because again, I've said it many times here. I like the actors, and I think they are portraying these characters well, even though I don't like the character Doug, but I think that Kevin saves it because of who Kevin is. Anyway, Kevin, that's the actor's name. I don't know if you guys remember that. But anyways, go on.
I thought this episode was definitely funny. And it definitely does bring the whole, like, should they or shouldn't they? And I
Yeah.
get it, especially since, like, that's how Carrie said, like, that was, like, that's their symbol of their love for so long. And, like, it's something that he picked up because, like, not only did he like how the ring looked, but he wanted, for both of them to, like, enjoy it and have something to, like, look back on. Because I said, like, how I said, like, when they first thought about the first time, I can see why, especially since like how they said there's a lot of things they also wanted to pay off to. Like, I think anybody right now in this day and age finding out like how much something simple that they thought they had turns out to be worth a lot more. I can see a lot of people, especially like right now, they would be tempted to do that. It's like that's a lot of your debt to be paid off to. You could put some into savings. You can even buy something like, like something special for you guys to like for funsies.
Right.
And I also did see them both struggle wanting to like deciding should they or shouldn't they, because I think their major thing was like, oh, like it meant so much to us, but also they also thought of each other, which I think was sweet, because Carrie was like,
Mhm.
no, like Doug picked this out for me, he liked it, and like he thought I would like it too, and I do kind of like it, like again she does like it because like he took his time to pick that out for her. And Doug was having a hard time because not only did he pick it out, but he said like it's a funny memory for the both of them. Like it's
Mhm.
like, oh, like it's like something we both can share and love about. No,
It's
yeah,
just funny.
like,
Sorry. Go on.
and I think that's sweet. Like both of them were on the fence on it, and then together they both decided, okay, yeah, let's do it. We're gonna settle our debts, and they're gonna have fun. They're gonna buy a hot dog. They're gonna buy a satellite dish. And for a while they were kind of enjoying that, but then they slowly kind of were like, was this really worth it for us in the end? And I think that is kind of hard, because like she was now starting to miss it, and him too was like, how we're gonna, like, oh, like we'll make the new ring just as special. So they try to recreate it, and it turns out to be a lot more, not only difficult but also a lot more chaotic than the first time, which I thought was funny. And I don't know, to me it's like I kind of like it because I do think there was kind of like a lesson into that one, surprisingly enough. Like the whole like just because the grass looks greener on the inside doesn't mean it's gonna be sweeter.
Mhm.
And I kind of liked that.
Yeah.
This was a better episode, but I like the fact that Doug did say like, oh, it was up to his wife because it was her ring that they were talking about, and he
Mhm.
did express that he would enjoy the money because he wanted his new satellite dish to watch more
Mhm.
channels. But like he was talking to his friends about it, and of course his friends were like, "Oh my God, go take the money!" Except for one that was like, "No, keep the ring. It has sentimental value to you. Like, come on." And like he was still like, "No, no, it's her choice. It's her choice." And even when they talked about it, like she was like, "No, no, I want the ring. Like I love it." But it was a unanimous decision on both their parts that they were like, "Okay, yeah, we'll do this." And of course, like they regret it for a bit because the sentimental value was there, and it wasn't until it was gone that they were like, "Damn it! Like, why did we do that?"
Yeah.
But it still worked out for them in the end with all of that. So I did like that. There was a scene with her dad though
Mhm.
that I know that mom didn't catch, but I caught it because I was like, this is disgusting. Where he comes in, right, and he's talking to his daughter, and he's telling her about how he had a sexy dream.
Oh
But
God.
Oh,
and
that.
I
Yeah, that was.
forget I forget what she asks, and he takes it like, oh, she's asking like who the sexy dream was with, and so he's like, oh, it was this famous person, but then in the end, it turned out to be my cousin.
Yeah.
Like when I heard that, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, excuse me? That, oh my god, like why would they even add that in there? Like, I'm sorry, but that's gross.
No, yeah, that
I,
was kind of a WTF moment for sure.
yeah.
Well, I did. I missed it until Will said it, and I was like, ew, what? I tell you, to me, I was just like, okay, this is way better than the other two we just watched, so I just sat back and enjoyed the show.
No, yeah, I heard that little comment, and I was just,
Okay, so let's move on. Episode 8. It's called Educating Doug, November 9, 1998. When Carrie starts to feel that she and Doug are growing to be a stupid couple, she enrolls them and Spence in an adult education class in English literature. I just want to say really quick about that last episode that it was nostalgia. It was a lot of nostalgia, that last episode 7, because when he gets the satellite and he's all flipping through all the channels. Like, I remember doing that. I remember the first time we got satellite and it was freaking 900 plus channels and you were there watching all, even though so many were repeat, you would still sit there and do that. Anyways.
I thought this one was more funny. I felt like it was a slight filler than anything. And, I think it goes back to the whole, like, oh, like, just because, like, somebody knows something more than another person and they feel like, oh, like, I'm behind, I'm not that smart, I'm not as well educated or something. Sorry, I'm not sure if you heard that. That was my dog groaning as she stretched in her sleep. And I get, like, while she feels like, oh, like, maybe, like, a whole, like, refresher for the mind to keep it still sharp and everything. I get that. What I didn't get, what I thought was kind of stupid and maybe even a bit childish is when, how Doug is like, oh, like, he's pretending he's reading, in reality he's not, and he's like, oh my god, I'm still stuck on page 2, what'd I do? And again, like, their friend, the creepy little guy, he's like, oh, yeah, like, he's explaining how he loved the book and everything, and Doug's like,
Spencer.
oh, Spencer, sorry, he's like, oh, it's like, you read that, huh, Spence? He's like, yeah, and he's like, cool, let's compare notes, I want to see what you wrote, and at first he's like, okay, he's like, wait, it's like, you didn't read it, it's like, maybe. It's like, still, share. And at first, Spencer's like trying to stand up to him, saying, no. It's like, it's not like back in high school where you could just pick on me and I'll give you my answers. It's like, I'm a grown man. I don't have to do it. And then Duck goes up to him and is like, oh, really? And then Spence turns around and tries to run. Doug tackles him and starts like trying to take the answer from him. And I just find it funny how like Spence is like calling out to the other friend, Richie, to come save him to stop Doug, and then Richie just turns around and says, like, take his lunch money. And I just,
Yeah.
I did think that part of the scene was very stupid, but also very funny, and I was like, this is stupidly hilarious. It's like, oh my god. But
Yeah.
I do think it's kind of stupid how Doug was like, no, like, fighting it the whole time. But I loved how he still pretended to like doing it with his wife because he wanted to make her happy. That I did like, and I think that was kind of cute.
Yeah.
Because, like,
Yeah.
as couples, like, yes, there's going to be times where where your partner's going to do something that you may not enjoy, you may not like, you may not even understand or see the reason to it, but they like it. And, you want to make them happy. You're like, okay, like, fine, whatever, like, let's do it. Like, I'll do it along with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that was kind of nice of him to do. I think it was stupid that he stole his friend's answers. That
Yeah.
I just thought like, oh my freaking god, like talk about acting like not your age, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than that, like I honestly thought this one was a lot cute, a bit more cuter, more funny than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the fact that Carrie actually forgot to drive back her dad for a moment. That I
Oh
laughed.
God.
She accidentally ditched him.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, my first note here is adult men acting like children.
Yes.
One thing that I did note though is it's very funny because I feel like there's like a formula that I guess comedy shows follow because
hmm
when the King of Queens when this episode started, it's Doug and the dad and what is it that they start fighting over?
Yep. That's
A
exactly what I have
toy,
on my notes too.
a toy that came
In
out of
the
the cereal
cereal
box.
box.
Like when I
Yep.
saw that, I was like, huh, like I think there's a formula here that we're seeing, a pattern here.
Yeah.
Um, I just wanted to throw out that little nug that I kind of noticed. Yeah, I like that this episode, like Carrie wanted them to take classes together, just to kind of sharpen their minds again. Like I do like that. I dislike that Doug basically slacks off. Like it is nice that he agrees to do it because he wants to make Carrie happy, but then he doesn't follow through. Um, I also didn't like that when they first go, they're showing them in the class, and Doug is basically being a clown and is bothering his friend who's sitting right in front of him, and then he's messing with the chair, which makes him fall down, and I didn't like that. Like, if you're gonna go with the intention of trying to focus. He was not doing that. He was just, I'm bored, what am I gonna do? Acting like a kid, you know?
hmm
I also didn't like that Doug was criticizing Carrie's driving. It's very like a fast little like one-liner and then they carry on. But he does make a he does say something about her driving and I can't remember I didn't write down exactly what he said.
hmm
But it was something about like how someone on the sidewalk probably pooped their pants because of her.
Oh, she almost hits a kid.
Yeah.
I remember that. She almost
Yeah.
accidentally hits a kid.
I didn't really like that because I'm like, why? Like, what a joke of, it's the old, oh, women can't drive. So,
Right.
like, I didn't care for that at all.
Well, it's the classic, let's make fun of the wife, let's make fun of the woman, and I think that's why. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, you're being too sensitive," but okay, let's make for the last 30, 40, 50 years just content of women making fun of men,
Yeah.
having men as the butt of the joke. And let's see. So I'm glad that you said the thing about the cereal because that's definitely one of the first things I put on here. That it just goes to show that they recycle stories. They tell them in a different way, but it's the same thing. Like it's the same, what is, it's a horse of a different color, but it's really just a horse.
Hmm.
Which again goes to me, I feel like this is a good example of they knew what they were doing. The women are the butt of the jokes. You just said it now about the whole driving thing. But
Hmm.
with that said, I think the reason that this show works or why maybe we like it a little bit more is because I think I can see these two loving each other. I can see now Doug, I don't like the character of Doug because I feel like all of these sitcom men, they do portray them as very immature. And think back, how many times have we heard boys being boys? Oh, that's just how boys are. So again, it's conditioning for us to kind of accept that behavior. Oh, because they're immature, but how old are we've said this? How old is Doug? I think he's even if he was in his late 20s, but he doesn't look like they look like they're in the early 30s.
Hmm.
But it doesn't matter. They're both, I mean, they're grown ass married men. And I'm talking about Ray and Doug. Okay.
Hmm.
Yet they're still very immature. And for so many years, we've all just kind of accepted that.
Hmm.
Even in real life, because this is the type of shit that we have been fed. for so many years. And I think, again, I enjoyed the episode. I enjoyed these episodes better than Raymond, but it still doesn't mask the fact that the woman is the butt of the joke and the men are immature and we're just, okay, we're going to accept it. It's funny type of thing. I don't like that he acts as a kid. I don't like that the father-in-law acts like a kid, but okay. I do like his father-in-law better than the one in Raymond.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in this case can be explained a little bit because we were saying, oh, maybe he has Alzheimer's or maybe there's something there. Okay. So maybe that's a little bit, there's maybe a small excuse for him. I did think it was funny that Carrie forgot her dad at the end, but the fact that Doug doesn't say anything, that is the obnoxious part. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, that is so typical Doug, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that right there, it's lighthearted because it's a comedy. That right there parallels from the show Kevin Could Go Fuck Himself. Because Doug, he's being immature, he's funny, like, oh, nothing, honey. But that's not normal behavior. Like, you shouldn't really do that in real life. And even though we know that this is just a show, but again, when you are watching shows and media that normalizes this type of behavior, that is when it spills out into the real world. So yes, it's funny, but at the same time, when these type of shows were on for 9 freaking years and you would watch them once a week, that is freaking that's not control, but like mind control. But it wasn't mind control,
They're
the word.
basically programming us to be okay with this.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, exactly. They're programming. When you see it on constantly for so many years,
Yeah. Like it becomes norm.
right. I do want to say again oh my god, the nostalgia in this where Carrie has to go look in the dictionary for the word just puts in perspective how things have changed. Because right now, I know me, I always, Google it, and I always just have my phone handy and I just Google it right away. I want to say something before we end this. I've been watching TikToks about Justin Bieber and P. Diddy, where Puffy is saying that he's got custody of him, Justin Bieber, for 48 hours. And it's just crazy to me seeing it now, how it actually looks real bad. But if you see the comment from when it was originally posted, which was about 15 years ago, it was posted on YouTube. And the comments from back then are totally different from the comments now, obviously. So then a thought popped into my head, and how back then, a lot of that creepy behavior like that would be thrown in our faces. And yet so many of us, so many people didn't see it. I feel like a big part of that has to do with the conditioning as a nation that we've been put through. And an example of this is how many movies do they make it okay for kids to befriend adults and go on these adventures, and I'm putting quotation marks there, with them.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that before many people didn't even bat an eye with this type of behavior, that in that video, clearly, P. Diddy, a grown ass fucking man, I have 48 hours of, with this young kid. We didn't bat an eye because of that programming that we've all gone through.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so glad that more and more people are waking up to reality and noticing what's really being put in front of us and our families. And this is why it's vital that we pay attention to the type of entertainment that we're consuming. Because this is pretty much what we've been talking about in these past couple of weeks with this series. How sitcoms affect us as a society. But in reality, this was beyond that. It's every type of media that's just thrown out there, you know?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I was telling Noodles about this. I was saying, like, it's crazy how now you go, and people might not make the connection, or people might say, oh, that's a reach. No, it's not a reach. When you have shows where the grandfather is, and it's a comedy, and the grandfather is there in the living room with his, pants undone when they're having dreams with their cousin. Like, if you really think about the big picture of it, this is why. This is why. And it makes me, and I'm sorry, I know maybe this is diverging a little bit, but it makes me so angry to know that there's kids that even right now, because there's so many child stars right now that this is happening to, right now in the present tense. But because we've been so conditioned, and this right there is a gross example. Right now, what's going on, people knew about it, but a lot of them turned a blind eye, and a lot of the audience that we were, us as the audience, oh, it's okay. Oh, oh, okay. He had him for 48 hours because he was gonna help him.
Hmm.
No. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that. So, okay, you guys, thank you so much to Musica, to Noodles. This is Bluntly Talking. And if you guys like any of this content, we have other content as well. But like, subscribe, follow, share. We're on all types of social media out there. And again, we'll be back tomorrow for Witch's Corner. Bye for me. Bye.
Bye.
See you later.